it's 6:57. 6:57 here in New York City. Here we are. We're remembering to stand up straight. Important. Hi. Hi, Brandon. How are you? Monsoon Diaries! Yes! I'm so excited. This is going to be fantastic. Dr. Sun has joined. And Bob. Oh, but Dr. Sun, do we have to wait for Frontline faces to go first? Because I can bring you on, but I thought they wanted to come on first. I'm going to bring you on. Now, we can always bring them after. Oh, no, you declined. Oh, it's okay. That's correct. But it's okay if we want to do it. Maybe you could just come on and clap with me? Maybe? I don't know. I don't know. Whatever the people think is best. Okay. Come on. Come on over. I'm sorry. I don't know. Okay, go live. Dr. Calvin's son! Karsten, hello!
I think I fucked it up already.
No, you didn't. You're fine. Cut it out. You're an impressive human being, and I'm so honored to talk to you tonight. You do not even know how much I respect you. What was I watching? I listened to the podcast that you had with Linda Abrahams, I think it was, on Accepted, and you talked a lot about so many things. I was just, man, hold on, I'm turning my chair around here. We have to clap in a minute.
No, you don't have to do that.
Yes, we do it every night.
Well,
every night, Dr. Sun, here on Evie Joy Music. We do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, Faces of the Frontline. We're going to bring you on here in just a minute.
Yeah, let them come on. Do I have to get off then?
In a minute, but oh yeah, it would be awkward for you to clap. Yeah, so I'm going to take you off and then I'm going to bring you back after we talk to them.
Sounds good.
Okay. Alrighty. Now I'm going to bring on Faces of the Frontline. Hello, guys. All right. I know. I love him. He's fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
Hi, Faces of the Frontline.
What's up? I can hear all the clapping from here.
You hear them? Yes. Where are you?
Yes, I'm on the Hudson River, which is where I walk every evening. Let's see.
Nice. Oh my God.
There's the cheering.
Yes. I'm in Astoria. So.
Oh, that's far.
You can't really see it out there, but it's there. Well, listen.
I wish I could show you my face, but I'll be safe.
That's okay. You be safe. Yes, be safe. Listen to them clap.
Woo!
Woo! Wow, that is so nice. That is so nice. So tell us, Faces of the Frontline, everybody, if you don't know, as everybody's clapping outside, sorry, just turning my camera around here, she has been doing a picture of somebody every day to remind us to be clapping and encouraging our frontline people that are still out there that don't know what they're facing and are like really sacrificing themselves and their comfort and just, not even, it's gotta be, they're still clapping out there.
They are still clapping.
People is so important. And
exactly.
Clapping too. That's awesome.
There we go.
Encouragement is so important nowadays, and I really admire what you're doing. Do you want to talk to everybody?
Thank you. I do, yeah. So, just like a quick, summary of what we do. Faces of the Frontline is exactly what you said, Evie. We are kind of going off of the power of storytelling to help draw awareness to what is happening on the front lines. So it's a way of not only providing affirmation, but also providing just a means of telling the authentic and uncut expression stories of what these people are going through, brave, amazing people like Dr. Sun, who's here. to help draw public awareness towards like numerous issues, mental health, PPE, whatever it may be. That's kind of what we're doing out here. So it's amazing to be here. Thank you so much for using your platform to amplify our voice and Dr. Sun's voice. And I'll hop off so that Calvin can get back on and talk to you.
Thank you so much. Everybody go and follow Faces of the Frontline. They are just doing a fabulous job. We need to encourage each other. We need to be a community. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. There it is right there in the comments.
Thank you. Woo!
Thank you, girl. Thank you so much. Be safe. All right. So now we are going to bring Dr. Sun up here, guys. Yes! And as he joins us, I'm going to play the theme song.
Thanks, Boo.
Life isn't so bad when other people are around, that you're never alone anymore with your phone. So Joy, live at 7, just connect, say hi. We'll remind each other all that matters in the end is love. Sincerely me, your friends.
Nice, thank you.
So guys, tonight we have world traveler, New York City ER doctor, a true hero and truly an altruist, and with the most amazing life story, Dr. Sun. And he is currently serving in New York City as a frontline ER doctor. So sorry to embarrass you, but it needs to be said because you are very, very, very courageous. And I want to know how you're doing it. How are you?
I'm doing well right now because we haven't had a lot of work lately, so I had a lot of time to recharge. A little bored out of my mind, but I think that's a privilege to feel these days. So I'm grateful to be bored, actually. It's all about perspectives. Usually in this part of my life, I would be traveling. Even I have traveled irresponsibly in the past where I would leave on a Friday and come back on a Sunday and narrowly missing class Monday morning. That's like how I usually do it. But like
in
now,
medical school.
In medical school and in residency, just off the skin of my teeth. But right now, you can't do that. It'll hurt other people. So I'm staying put and I'm traveling to my rooftop. And that's as far as I'm going.
I was going to ask you about what you think. Like I know you've gone to everywhere. Have you gone everywhere in the world? Can you kind
Not
of
everywhere. I've been to, how you define a country, but 190 countries and territories in the last 10 years. Actually, right, I have my, everyone looks like pants. So everywhere that's not shaded. So.
Oh! What?
Yeah, it includes Antarctica. So pretty much not here yet.
Okay.
So I got much left, and I got this much.
Oh my gosh,
No,
you're
this is
amazing.
And I got a lot of little islands.
Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous of you. I am so jealous of you, and I didn't know about you before this. And I'm gonna travel with you someday. We got to, because I love what you do. Can you tell them about how this started? A little. I don't know if there's a better way for me to introduce that, your travel community.
Do you want the PG-13 version or the
R-rated, baby?
Version?
Go
Okay.
X.
I actually hated traveling. 10 years ago, I thought the idea of traveling was stupid because I'm a born and raised New Yorker. I felt like the whole world came to me. What was the point of spending all that money to go to places you're never going to live in anyway? Because New York is the best city in the world. That's what I thought at the time. Right. And I was a bartender, and there was a party in Midtown West at a restaurant called Bartender, and it was for an after party, and I met a girl, and one thing led to another. And then the next morning, I was like, oh, you're really cool. I really want to get to know you better. And she was like, me too. Like, let's not make this a one-time thing. And I was like, great. So I'll see you tomorrow. She's like, no, I'm actually going to Egypt for a month with my family. I was like, oh, okay. Well, have fun in Egypt. I'll see you when you get back. But I was like, that's really funny because I have 2 other friends also going to Egypt at the same time you are, so you should meet them. And that New York, I don't know, the New York rules. If you do morning after coffee or brunch, it means something. It's a rule you don't want to break. But I broke.
Right.
I was like, let's do coffee, let's do brunch. I want you to meet my friends, and then hanging out with me all the way to the next evening. Never went home. Like she had to borrow the toothbrush. It's like, that's your toothbrush. And meeting some of my friends. They got along. The 3 of them like hit it off, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is amazing. We're all going to be Egypt at the same time. What a small world. We're all becoming fast friends. Calvin, you should come." And he kept pushing me and pushing me. I was like, "No, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Traveling's dumb. Traveling's dumb." And then they really until I couldn't handle it anymore. I was like, "Fine, I'll go if tickets under $7 round trip." They were $2,000 at the time. I did check. I did like her enough to check just for a second, but I said that as a joke so they can get off my back. But they made me bet on it. And then we hung out, and then 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, they were, taking my phone, refreshing it. It was like $1,500, $1,800. Like, no, guys, give me my phone back. And then 4 o'clock in the morning, last call, paid the bill. They were going home. I was like, have fun in Egypt. Send me a photo, bring me back a rock. And then they reloaded it one more time, and it was $650. So I was like, fuck.
You lost the bet and you had to go to Egypt.
I'm a man of my word. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And it was a great deal too. So I couldn't say no to that. So I ended up going a few hours after they did the next morning. And they're like, don't worry, don't bring anything. You're going to be fine. And then when I arrived there, they were like, holy shit, we realized why your tickets were so cheap. And I was like, oh, what's going on? Well, what was going on in Egypt 10 years ago? So yeah, I ended up spending the next 3 weeks alone in Egypt.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so.
They didn't go?
Well, they did. They picked me up at the airport. We had another story that happened that's really cool. I don't know if time for that. But literally, they were like, you need to go home now. You don't know anybody. Nobody knows you. You didn't prepare anything. We told you to buy everything in Egypt. And we're going to, take you to this really cool thing, which is another story itself. But then after that cool thing was over, then the next hour, they're like, we're going to leave you in the train station. You're going to leave, right? We're going to, get on our flights back home. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that too. Like, I'll change my flights around and everything.
But you didn't.
Well, I spent 2 hours walking around in circles, wondering what I should do. And it was like watching somebody play The Sims for the first time, where you just see this guy go, oh, what do I do? Yeah, and eventually, I, like this, The Sims, like
I love The Sims, and they flail.
I ended up get to Alexandria that night. Got there 3 o'clock in the morning, and then literally the first week was every minute I was like, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. Because I was just like, if I go home now, there's 100% chance I'll live, but 100% chance I'll regret it. If I stay in Egypt, since I'm already here for the next 3 weeks, there's a 20% chance I'll live, but 100% chance I won't regret it. All right.
Right, I do this too. The logical weighing of the scales.
And it's just, sometimes if you don't know what to do, just do something.
Yeah.
It's either one, the other one. You don't know, they could be equal. Just choose one. So I decided to stay in. The second week, I was like, okay, I'm getting the hang of this. Like, I'm still alive. And then the third week, I was like, oh, I get why people travel.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only time when you actually get to know yourself. Nobody's bothering you. Nobody can, question what, oh, you should do this, you should do that. You don't know anybody. Nobody knows you. So you're really the only people you can rely on is yourself.
Yeah.
All the things you take for granted at home, like where do I eat? Where do I sleep?
Yeah.
All of that is, changed when you're traveling. And so I came back like much.
The art of improv, isn't it?
Yeah, just like, you said, playing jazz. You just rely more. So that's when I came back. I was like, okay, I get why people travel. I actually can rely on myself to play improv in uncomfortable situations, which actually pertains to COVID-19. How people like, oh, how did you survive all of this? Well, ever since then, or even before that, when my dad died when I was younger, I've lived my entire life always embracing the uncomfortable, just always choosing to do what scares the shit out of me.
You have to, yeah.
The opportunity presents itself during like a pandemic. I was like, I'm scared, but fuck yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I could have, if I didn't have those experiences, I could have been like, you don't want a per diem, I'll sit this out. Or maybe I'll just take a few more days off. Like, why like push myself too much, right? But I just, that's not who I am. And you don't really know that unless, and you know, actually, you're never going to be in a position to know who you really are unless you're in the position where you're already doing it and you're like, oh, this is me. And that's what happened to
Yeah.
me. And that's what happened with this pandemic.
It's like the focus. You get that focus.
Yeah.
How are you meditating a lot? Is that helping you to get through this?
Travel was my meditation, right? It's the only time where you're focused on yourself because everything else is foreign around you and it's fun. But obviously I can't travel anymore. So I do a little more meditation. Headspace is free for all healthcare workers for a year. But I made it a practice to always focus on my breathing. I used to have a little pebble that would buzz me to like take deep breaths. I lost that. I lose shit all the time. So
I'll get you a new
no.
pebble. I'm going to get you a new pebble.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I have my Apple Watch now that just buzzes me every like 2 hours.
Oh, that's true. The Apple Watch.
Yeah. And taking breathing exercises. Speaking of Egypt, I used to smoke a lot of hookah. So it was my only vice. So don't judge me.
Oh, I smoke a lot of weed, man. That's how I'm getting through this pandemic. So
everyone did different strokes, different folks. But for me was the only social thing that I could do with friends outside and take deep breaths. Yep. Right? When you're drinking, when you're like eating, when you're on a first date, when you're talking really, really fast, you're not getting a lot of oxygen to your brain. You're just like, ah, and then you're like, wow, what was that? Or whatever, you're just like, ah. But when the hookah is completely opposite, it's still socializing. You're still having fun. You could still be on a date. You could still be good, fun friends, still with the best friend of your life or the love of your life. But you're forced to deep breaths when you do hookah. So your conversations are so different. And that's very me too. So that's my like thing, to always like focus on my breath.
I do that all the time. That's what we talked about yesterday, and we elongated our breath.
Yes.
Oh, I love
especially
that.
Singer. Yeah, and a musician.
Yeah, you're a musician, right?
I used to be a musician. How about that?
You can play some mean jazz improv piano, huh?
Past life. The last time I played jazz was Gershwin for a required jury recital to graduate. And that was in 2004. So that was 16 years ago. I haven't done. I can play
man, good job.
Soon, but that's it.
Oh, you were a bartender. So that's my manager there, and he's saying when you were a bartender, what was your favorite cocktail?
I loved to make or to drink, because I'm a whiskey guy on the rocks. I haven't drank in like 3 months though, because I'm trying my best to, save it for like the celebration. So I don't drink. I used to drink a little more back in college, but I should stop drinking altogether. So it hasn't been that bad. But I love making peanut butter and jelly sandwich. A peanut butter and jelly sandwich drink, PB&J. 1/4 vodka, 1/4 amaretto, 1/4 frangelico, 1/4 chambord with a splash of cranberry. Because the vodka is the bread, the frangelico and the amaretto is the peanut butter, the chambord and the cranberry is the jelly. That was fun.
Wow. That is amazing. Can you tell me and tell everyone the story about how you compare being in the ER to bartending, and where everybody's worst day of their life is every day of your life. So their worst day of their life is every day for you. And now it's so much worse. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm just listening.
Oh, no, she told me to stop talking at the same time. I'm not trying to. I'm just asking if you could tell them about your bartending, where bartending is same as being an ER doctor.
Used to bartend in college because it was the best paying job in campus. It was also a way to rebel against my dad because it's something that he would have got pissed at. So anything that pissed him off, I would do it. And it was actually a lot of fun because you can work on your own time. You could sign up for jobs whenever you want. And if you didn't want to work, you didn't have to work. And it was easy money. And then Columbia Partners was the name of, when I was a college student at Columbia. I ended up taking over the school of mixology as one of the teachers and helped out the manager managing that place to teach bartending. That was, also a lot of fun. I love teaching. Bartending is a lot of fun. And then I kept doing that. And that's what led me to the Egypt story. And then and then when it came to medical school and deciding how I want to do emergency medicine, it's usually a funny saying, if you're not interested in anything or you love everything, you should do emergency medicine. And that was kind of true because remember, I got into medical school because I lost a bet. Because of the Egypt story, it was inspired me to take the next bet was, I didn't know if I wanted to be a doctor or not. I didn't know if it was what my dad wanted, or the fact that I didn't want to do it was rebelling against my dad, which is also makes my dad win over me. And I didn't want him to have control of me. So maybe I should be a doctor, but then maybe it was because my dad, you know, was doing this from his grave and reverse psychology. So I was like, you know what, fuck it. Let me just do what I did in Egypt, was I'll apply to every med school with my shitty GPA. And like, I bombed the MCATs and no one's going to take me. No one even thought that I was going to get in. And then one school took me because they were trying something different. They wanted someone that was interesting, that was a bartender, that knew how to talk to people, that, you know, because we needed doctors that could talk to patients, not necessarily read from a book the whole time. We have a lot of doctors trigger warning, like with a lot of mental health issues, committing suicide. And there was like, why is this going on? Because, you know, 4 years of schooling and 4 years of residency, you're not really socializing anymore. How do you know how to talk to patients again at the end of their life when you spent the last 8 years studying all the time? So they're like, this guy's interesting. Maybe he has a good idea what work-life balance was. And I mean, I was like, okay, sure. Like, you have no idea that I, you know, lost a bet doing this. But I ended up going to downstate. Columbia was my undergrad. SUNY Downstate was my medical school. Yeah. I almost got kicked out 2 to 3 times. I paid for med school with bartending. Every time I almost got kicked out, they drew me back in because I was already traveling at this point. They were like, you're such an inspiration to your fellow classmates. You probably will never become a doctor, but we'll graduate you. It was just a lot of luck, worked really hard, combination of that. But then when it came to choosing a specialty, I was like, you know what, if I'm not really sure what I want to do yet, then maybe emergency medicine. And it was very similar to bartending. Remember, I have never given up. The part of the bet was to not give up anything on your journey. I would not quit my bartending. I would not quit my traveling. I wouldn't quit all the organizations I was part of. I would still be in med school, which is why I almost got kicked out so many times, because I was so distracted. Because I really believe it's more possible to stay a good person and then be a good doctor, rather than try to be a good doctor, sacrifice humanity, and then learn how to be a good person again. So I was like, fuck it, kick me out like that. Then I know it. That's part of the bet. I can check that box off. No, I'm not meant to be a doctor. Have my Oprah story. I failed something, and then like travel the world and then become, you know, something else. But they never let me. And that was part of the bet too. If I would have to keep going, I'd keep going. So when I was bartending, I realized that was very similar to becoming an emergency medicine doctor, right? You're behind a bar, right? So when they urged me, why do you want to be an ER doctor? I was like, look, it's like you're behind a bar, like just like a bartender. That's why I want to be an ER doctor. Bartender, you're behind a row of computers. Anyone that steps behind my bar, I call security to throw them out. Same thing, you step behind my ER row of computers, you got to get security because they're getting to the nursing station, they're about to punch you, right? You got to take care of the same kind of people. The down and out, the people who need you, the drunks, the people who need someone to talk to, someone that you need to figure out if they have a safe place to go. You got to move as fast as possible, but not too fast, because then everyone thinks you're stiffing them to drink. But you can't move too slowly either, because so many people are waiting for their drink. Same thing in an ER. You don't want to move too slowly, too quickly. And then you're like, the guy interviewing me, you're my boss. The attending, you're like a bar manager. You don't do anything. You make all the bartenders do the work, and you just go around as the attending going, hey, how you liking my bar? Give this guy a towel in the house. Give this guy a rose. And all of the interviews are like, that was the best damn answer I ever heard to the question. You got the job. And like I got ranked pretty highly. And then there was one program I really wanted to go to, because they were all about like treat patients first and then learn, rather than like learn from a book and then treat patients. And it was a nice match. And then that's where I went for a residency. And that's how I became a doctor.
Wow.
Well, actually now I'm very grateful to becoming a doctor. Like 4 years ago, I woke up one day and I was like, thank God I made this decision. Like, I'm so grateful that I'm privileged enough, and this is what I'm meant to be. But my story is more for people who have no idea what the fuck they want to do. Like, if you know you want to be a doctor, you want to be this, great, good job. But for me, I wanted to do everything, and I wanted to do nothing. I wanted to retire early as a bartender, and I also wanted to like do something in my life. If you don't know what to do, that's my story. Sometimes you don't know what you want to do until after you've done it, and you're like, oh, but the only way to get there is to put yourself in a position when you actually do the damn thing.
Trial and error.
Trial and error. I tried everything. And that's what emergency medicine is. I did everything, wasn't interested in anything. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just do all of it. Do everything. That's the joke of emergency medicine. Everything medicine. You're here for work? No. I stubbed my toe. I need a sandwich. I got shot. I got stabbed. You know, I'm sick. I got COVID. We got to take care of all of it. I'm more than happy to. But also, we got to do that dance to make sure you don't get more hurt by coming to the emergency room. So we got to get you out before someone with COVID gives it to you. So you got to also have that tough love approach too. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm like, stay as long as you like. No, because there's more and more people coming in. So that attitude also, as a bartender, served me well. That's when you know how to cut people off. It's like, I love serving you drinks, but enough is enough. I got to throw you, even though you're my favorite customer, I got to throw you out because you're a danger. So you got to learn how to do that. So it's the same skill set.
Wow, that's very impressive.
That's why I used to. I haven't smoked hookah in 4 months, but all of this stuff was because like I was just outside taking deep breaths and like, holy shit, like this is why I do it. And that's why I think, yeah, you're guys going back to meditations. I never was aware of this until after the fact. I was just doing it. And sometimes you got to stop and smell the roses and get that perspective to be grateful for all your experiences. So if my dad were still alive, I would have still probably become a doctor, but my story would have been like this. It would have been really boring. You and I would not be having an interview right now. We wouldn't be doing this. You wouldn't give a shit about me. I was going to be a normal, boring doctor that didn't travel, listen to my dad. But I still became a doctor when he wasn't around. My story was like this. And I still became a doctor. But what's interesting is not what you become. It's how you get there.
I love that. Could you tell everybody about and me about your experience a little bit with all of this?
This COVID, the capital T, it's COVID-19, I think for people in medicine, and I'll back out a little more for people who are not in medicine. People in medicine, we actually trained for this. The volumes that we saw, the number of people that were sick, we've seen that before. And I was around for like Ebola. I was a New Yorker during 9/11, World Trade Center. I was born and raised New Yorker. And events like those, mass shootings, have happened where so many people come in all at once and you're overwhelmed. But those are discrete, and I don't want to minimize those events, but those are discrete events. You know they had an endpoint. And even in, you know, as when I went to residency in the Bronx, the volumes that I saw a month and a half ago happened once every 2 weeks, once a week. But we knew that by the time Sunday night rolled around, it would calm down, and we had time to prepare, decompress. And then Monday is going to be busy, but then Tuesday it peters out, and Wednesday gets. I mean, that was the fear that when it's the next surge, but the surge happened every few days. We could rely on that. With COVID-19 was what we saw every 2 weeks throughout my 4 years of training, but it was happening every day. Like it just never stopped. Where 80 people came in, 100 people came in, 120 people came 140. And it wasn't the numbers that bothered me as much. Like I could see 70 patients in one day on my own. You know, it's overwhelming, but like, yeah, I've trained for that. I've been through that. But to then realize tomorrow I might see 90. Then the day after I might see 100, 110. When is my break? And 8 hours of sleep and then eating is not counting as a break. You know, but I was still going in every day because everyone else were so understaffed and felt so underprotected, you know, just not knowing. I mean, because no one could ever tell us when this is going to end. And then pandemic, you know, that's uncertainty is what was the crux of, you know, a lot of our agony. And then when people started dying or getting sick, or our colleagues started getting sick, and, you know, that we've never seen that before. And so that compounded on this, like, when does this all end? And it's not this, as you say, this with the capital T, not just the pandemic, but when do our staff members and our colleagues and our friends stop getting sick? When do patients stop coming in? Is social distancing actually going to work? Is a lockdown actually going to take effect? You know, and if so, when? And you remember, everything has a 2 to 3 week like effect rate, or ripple effect. So if a lockdown happens, we have to wait another 2 to 3 weeks of constant patients coming in before we finally see a relief, which is what we're going through right now. But forgive us if we have trust issues, if that second wave might happen, because there's flu season and flu has a vaccine that really does a good job in saving lives. The flu vaccine doesn't prevent you from getting the flu as well as it does prevent you from dying from the flu. So if I got the flu vaccine, I probably will get the flu still. Like, I'm not saying this vaccine is going to work great for that. No, I'm just like, no, this vaccine is shit for preventing me from catching the flu. But I still want the vaccine, because if I were to ever get the flu, I'm not going to be so sick enough to die or go to the ER. So it actually does make a huge effect. But still, flu season with the vaccination programs is overwhelming. 70,000 people die over 6 to 7 months. Now you combine that with COVID, without a vaccine, without the knowledge that it could mutate into something weaker or could mutate something worse, or what's going on with the kids right now, and all the symptoms look very similar, that's also on the back of our minds. So we're just enjoying as much of time we can right now, but we just know that the worst could be coming. I'm not saying it is coming, but it's fail to prepare to fail.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Well, it's like music, right? I mean, I'm speaking to a musician. You're part of a concert. Life is not a journey. Life is not this goal. Like, when is it all over? When is it over? Tell me about this. This thing is like a discrete day. And it's like, everyone's like wondering when this is going to end. But that's not why we go to concerts. That's not why we play music. That's not how we live life. Otherwise, you should go to a concert where the DJ or the conductor is just conducting as fast as possible. Everything would be a finale. The dance off would just be and with the fastest dancer. No, it's you go to enjoy the whole experience. And I'm not saying I'm enjoying this experience. I fucking hate this experience because I can't travel and I'm overwhelmed and I lost friends. But it is this giant long concerto piece that you're going to have to, go through all emotions. And this is like the respite. This is the calm before probably another storm. And it's never really going to end. There's going to be more pandemics. There's going to be world wars. We've always been through this. So I don't really want to look forward to anything. I just want to focus on the now and just be grateful for every present moment I have. And hopefully if I keep doing that, then, maybe the second wave won't happen. One can only hope.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much.
Sure.
There are the helpers out there and the people that are really altruistic and that support our community and look to how they can help other people. And you give me hope, for tomorrow. You give me people like you.
Just a normal guy, just doing my thing, being honest and genuine. So just happy that my life can be a source of, who are we without each other? If I don't feel forced doing anything. I don't feel like I feel pressure to do it. If I don't want to, be on Instagram or do social media, I don't. But this is something that I have been doing way before COVID-19 comfortably. And if it gives you strength just by me being myself, that's sustainable, right? You're not sucking any energy away from me. Because I've always been having a blog since I have a Zanga that's still up that I was posting every day. My Zanga's still up. Soho.zanga.com is still up since 2002. And I was posting every day for doing things like this, just to give people something to rely on, to know that if I'm still breathing, you can still breathe. Because who are we without each other? So
I'm going to explode.
You do you, and if you give your strength, then that's sustainable. If you feel forced, everyone's relying on you and you're like, I gotta write one more song or do this, or it's I gotta put something out. It's not, you're going to collapse. You're going to run out of juice, and then other people will collapse because everyone's relying on you. And then that's when you have the collapse of a system. And, so don't force anything. Thank you. And thank you for telling me that. That means a lot to me.
Oh, well, of course. Gosh, I don't even know what to say. I love that. I love that. And I think you're doing a great job and you're keeping your focus. How can we help the doctors more?
I don't want to, it's so hard because I don't want to sound entitled or we need this or we need that. So we're just grateful. I can't speak on behalf of all doctors out there. I'm just, a happy clam doing my thing. And, the fact that people see us means a lot to me. And I will still be doing this regardless if I have everyone looking at me or nobody looking at me, because I've always been, you know, genuine and truthful to myself. People who watching this who travel with me know I've told people to fuck off. I'm like Forrest Gump. You know, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna run around the country alone with people behind me. Does not matter. But it does actually make it nicer, I guess, that people see us for once. But I don't want to hang my hat on that too, because I know it's not gonna last forever. I know there'll be a day when people are going to throw us under the bus, because everybody, and I'm not saying, oh, woe is me and sob story. Like,
No, I know.
I've been in New York long enough to know that everybody needs a scapegoat. You know, they used to hate Asians, and then they hate black and brown, and they hate women, and they don't need everybody's a scapegoat, and then we hate on each other, and then there's like a circular firestorm. It's happening right now. Everyone's blaming each other for everything. You did this, you did that, you know, and it's like, come on, like, but that's human nature, and I have to like set that as my expectation so that I can prepare for that when it happens. So right now I'm enjoying the fact that everyone appreciates us and our work. I'm ruining the day that people are like, oh, doctors ruined our economy because they complain about ventilators. And I was like, my response is always like, yeah, the economy, I'm a small business owner. Like I do travel, like my business is done. Like it's gone. I'm lucky enough that I have another job, but yeah, I wish the economy was better too. But at the end of the day, would you rather like we had no ventilators and we didn't complain about it? Then people would have, then we would have rationed care, right? Or I mean, not ventilator. You could replace ventilator with hospital beds or medications or us, right? It's like you're never gonna win. So it's that like, thank you for making our lives easier now, and please try to keep that as long as possible in the future until you can't anymore. If you want to blame us or use us as a punching bags, that's what we are in the emergency room. Just no matter what.
Oh, I hope you're not treated like a punching bag. I hope you don't feel that way, because
you can ask my colleagues. I was security staff sometimes. I mean, as the doctor and security staff at some point. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I've jumped over stretchers to like break up fights. You know, just it's ridiculous. No, I mean that's what we're the safety net. We're the catch-all system. Like that's what it means to be an ER doctor. I mean, same as a bartender. You've nowhere else to go. You come to the bar, drink your sorrow. I'm here. I'm the guy that you listen. I'm the whispering wall. You talk to the bartender, and that's what I was. I am the keeper of so many people's secrets and stories. I am a post-secret book, and then it's no different when you come to the ER.
Yeah.
People who have nowhere else to go, you know, a safety net. That's what that's where this 24/7 social worker is. You know, anything happens, we're here for you. Whether you need a work note, you hurt your toe, or you're sick, or you got shot. Like it's the same doctor that sees all of you.
And you said it was because of the self-care that you learned while you were traveling, right? That taught you the way to get in touch with your feelings. That led you to feel like you could give that self-love, that you had enough love here in abundance that you can give it away to others. Right?
Oh yeah, that's so important. I'm glad you picked up to that, because my dad died when I was really young, and my mom got sick a few weeks later with Parkinson's. Oh, she got diagnosed like a week later, but a few weeks later it was like got really bad. And my girlfriend broke up with me at the funeral, summer of 2006. It's on my Zanga. Fucking summer of my life. But that was also the best summer of my life, because that's when like this French girl that I was visiting, Amelia, was visiting New York City. She swooped in and saved my life. All my friends came in and like just like did suicide watch on me for like 24/7 for like a few weeks. I created a new family. Yeah, it was a tough summer, but it was also like the best. And that's when my dad didn't leave a will, so we got kicked out. So I was living in a frat house for like 5 weeks, Beta Theta Pi, right next to Columbia. So I couldn't even go back home. But that's when you like realize, I cannot rely on even my guardians, my parents, if you have parents, guardians. I can't even rely on them, right? It was tough enough because they never speak my emotional language. Like they never took care of me emotionally. So I had to like make friends and, or learn how to make friends on my own. But then when they died, or when my dad died and my mom got sick, and she lived with her with my grandparents, with her parents, I was by myself. And that's when I was like, I can't rely on anyone but myself. It was forced in that position. It's not like I don't wish that on any of you watching this right now, but like I had no choice but to rely on like, I mean, I can't depend on a French girl that comes to visit New York City once a summer either. I was lucky to have her. She picked me up when I fell, but I can't rely on her. Can't rely on my friends. So I had to like figure that out myself. And I didn't realize how to do that until it was sustainably, until it was traveling, where like I left, got away from all the noise. So nobody could reach me, my boss or work or friends, or where I could just, it's like away, and I had to rebuild everything. Where do I eat? Where do I sleep? All these things I take for granted at home, I had to relearn on my own. And when I did all that, I was like, oh my God, like I don't need anyone but me and my skill set and charm and talking to people. Even if I don't speak the language, I can finally find a way to live. And you do that enough on a habitual basis, which I did every 3 to 4 weeks for the last 10 years. You come back every time, you just compound that feeling looking back. It's like, wow, you're a fucking badass. You don't need anyone else. You have enough love you love yourself. But then it's not like I'm an asshole and I don't care with other people. Now I have so much love for myself. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. What do I do? And that's when I start giving out that love to others. And that's why I take people on my trips or do things like this, or like a little more patient than other people in the emergency room. I mean, I do have my tough love moments, but you know, more often than not, I like, I gotta see why they're here. Like, why they're really here. They're not here to, you know, screw. They're not here to get me. Maybe the system fucked them over. I gotta just see the man behind the man to see why they're here. So then that way I can reframe it so that it's not like, you know, one like always fighting each other.
Yeah.
But how we work together. How do we negotiate that? We're not fighting each other, but we're fighting the problem as a third person. We can work together, and that's only you can do if you step away from it long enough. And so I had to travel. I had to really get away from it all, which is why it's tough now because you can't do that as much. So I'm going to my rooftop.
I do that too.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
There's a rooftop culture here.
Sorry.
So sorry, I just said there's a rooftop culture here in New York City.
Yeah, it's that's just something the reason why I don't travel that much in the summertime in New York is I love New York in the summer. Especially the rooftop scene. I have a Google Maps. Everyone's gonna ask me to share it with you. I haven't opened it in years. So I don't know where it is. But it literally has all the rooftops in New York that I've been to, like 80, 90 of them. And I would do these rooftop marathons where, you know, every weekend or every other day when I don't have work, where I'll just host a little rooftop thing. They're all closed now, so it's no point. But like that's what I look forward to every summer, because for the people who can't travel internationally with me, I would do the same kind of travel, but in New York, where we would just go from rooftop to rooftop to rooftop and nothing planned, and we'll just find new restaurants, and it'll be like a little serendipitous adventure. And then people have fallen in love on my trips where they like meet somebody and it's like, I want to stay. And I was like, okay. And I leave them there for like a year before I pick them up again. Yeah, that has happened. That has happened in New York, where we just run into people or run into people again. It's like, what did I see on that rooftop? And then like magic happens and I'm like, oh, just leave them there. Let's see if they're going to be there when we come back 3 hours later. That's what I miss. And I actually am very sad that that might not happen this summer.
We could still make it happen
We
somehow.
could, but I think this is why this quarantine is so difficult, is that people don't feel like they're missing things. Like, oh, we can't throw my birthday party. Oh, I can't go out. Or, oh, I can't go on a date. Or, oh, I can't go to this concert. You're not missing that. You're missing the what could have been, right? If you didn't go to that date or you didn't go to that concert, then you may not have met that person that could have been your future best friend or the love of your life or the love of the next 2 years or something like that. That promise, you're missing that. That's what we're all are dying inside slowly, is like that promise of an adventure that's waiting around the corner. We can't do that if we're stuck at home because we're trying to be safe, and that's understandable too. But that's what I think drives me crazy, is that what could have been, and I'm one of those guys.
Wow. The what could have been. Let me tell you though, you know, your perspective is enlightening. It really is. And it's like hard to come to think of what else I could even say, but now is the time. Maybe we were getting so you know, to the point where we didn't have space. Think about that. And you say how important space is. And now we have, I know it is so hard but now we have this space to notice what's wrong. And, you know, like, and really suddenly get more involved in our communities and more connected, because like you said, you can't always rely, all you can do is rely on yourself. And then once you care enough, you can give that love, and you can structure and make your community into a family. And as we get more connected, we'll be happier. The results, there's been scientific studies on this. You need community. You built your own community.
Right. No, it's the happiness is better shared with other people, which is why I love the analogy of we're looking for co-pilots. Like, you can fly the plane alone. No, that's what everyone can do. That's what we're working towards, to be able to fly the plane alone. But damn, it's not fun to fly a plane alone. You want to be like, oh, look at that sunset. Oh, look at that sun. Like, should we go in next? It's more fun to have co-pilots, and that's what you go from just existing to living. Right? I love solo backpacking. I'm like Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump's running alone around the country, doesn't give a fuck who's traveling with him. And that was me. I hated having people on my trips. I love solo traveling. And I was like, this is for me. I don't want to be like responsible for anyone. But like, part of me also was just like, I was so happy when I was doing, I couldn't help but, you know, like Forrest Gump is like, all right, you know, and then ended up loving it. And I realized that's how the Monsoon Diaries came around. Was like, I mean, partly it was because my traveling wouldn't have existed with the struggles I had in medical school, right? One couldn't exist in the other, but also because this was leading myself without planning to people around the world. They're also in medicine and now fighting COVID-19, but also like, you know, traveling and running each other over and over and over, and realize like, you know, even if you don't believe in God, like, or energy in this universe, like, we've had enough experience at the Monsoon Diaries that you just can't help but believe in God or something out there, or some energy, because we just kept writing the same people over and over and over again. And I was like, oh, everyone's doing similar things, we'll run each other. And it's like, no, but this is around the world. Like, I'll be in the middle of nowhere in Mauritania. That's the thing. I was on live MedAid because I ran into a couple, because I didn't care for my group looking for SIM cards. So I just like, fuck it, I'm going to leave for like 2 minutes. And I walk, and I run into this couple, like, oh my God, the first foreigners I've seen that's not in my group in Mauritania. And they're like, oh my, and they looked at me, it's like, what the hell are you? Like, we've never seen a foreigner there either. And it's in the middle of nowhere. This is in Chum, in Mauritania, in the middle of nowhere. They have like maybe 5 foreigners, you know, a month. And we talked for like 10 minutes. And I was like, this is weird. Like, it feels like I was meant to meet you. But he's like, yeah, but we're like, they're from Argentina and I'm in New York, and they have like 50,000 followers and I have like 2,000. It's like, there's no way we're going to see each other again. And they actually happened to work for a production company that they needed people for COVID-19. So they interviewed me 3 weeks ago, and I was like, oh, this is for like your personal project? I'd love to catch up. How's travel, blah, blah, blah. And I did this interview and I forgot about it. And then I end up on live MedAid with like Neil deGrasse Tyson and then like 5 other colleagues that were like, I looked up to. They're like, oh, Calvin, I heard about you. And now we're all like really good friends, and we're like going to go bowling together once this is all over. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And it's just like all because I didn't want to wait for SIM cards to be like doled out to my group, because I was like, fuck this, you know, I don't want to wait for SIM cards. And it's like, you never know, there's magic in the universe. And I even blogged about the Monsoon Diaries. I was like, waiting for SIM cards in a foreign country is stupid. And this is why I walked away. And I even wrote about it, and I ran into this couple, like, that was cool. And I blogged live at the time. So I was just like, I don't know where this is going to lead. So I even read that like the other day when I saw myself live MedAid, and I was like, holy shit, like, magic happens.
My family ran into our next door neighbors at Disney World. Like,
I mean, it could be, a lot of people will say, oh, it's so random and so crazy. Like, I don't feel anything. No. But like, it doesn't matter. It's what you choose to believe in. Right? That's the most important thing. You can choose, like, oh, Calvin's a lucky guy, he's outgoing, and he has a face that everyone wants to walk to. I was like, thank you. Well, thank you. No, you can believe like, oh, like, it's not going to happen to me. It's just totally random. He puts himself out there. I was a very shy, introverted kid that didn't want to talk to anybody. I wouldn't even want to go to the beach because I had to take off my shoes. But like, I don't want to choose to believe that. I want to choose to believe in magic, and that's fine. You ran into your next door neighbor in Disney World. That gives you meaning. If that gives you meaning to inspire you for the next song or the next performance or the next energy that inspires you to keep living, then what does it matter if it was true or not, or was meant to be or not? It doesn't fucking cares. It's your choice. You get to choose to worship that. That's the same thing with, oh, how do you go back to work every day if you're afraid to go to work? It's because I choose to do something with that fear. I can choose to not go in because I don't have to as per diem, or I can choose to be like, fuck it, that fear gives me the fire to say, fuck you, fear. I'm going to go into work anyway. And then I go into work. It's just a choice.
You're choosing love over fear. Spread love, not corona.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. You're amazing, man. Thank you so much. Oh,
This is fun.
this is fun. You're fun. You breakdance too, right?
Oh yeah. I break danced past tense. I have a modern hip hop background. So after I started college, I stopped playing piano. I still can play a few. No, I can't. No, I tried to play Claire de Lune last night. I got like 2 bars and I was done. But after I started college, I transitioned from piano playing to dancing. So then I started with a modern hip hop background, and then everyone's like, "Oh, I bet you can't break dance because you're Asian." And I was like, I think that's the stereotype that I should breakdance because I'm Asian. But challenges. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just learn it. And I learned it, and I liked it. It was a good excuse to not go to the gym, and a big flex move. So I kept it, and that's how I met so many people breakdancing. That dumb thing, like, oh, I bet you can't breakdance, ended up leading to meeting all these people. And I went to this breakdancing class just for fun, shits and giggles. And my teacher is my next door neighbor, 2 doors down. That's a nurse that's fighting COVID-19. And we had not met before. But we had a lot of mutual friends. But when we were all somehow after the class going in the same direction, going the same place home, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you following me? He's like, no, I live 2 doors down. I'm a nurse. And I'm like, I'm a doctor. Oh my God. And then like now his wife gave me coffee the other day because we're all quarantined. And it's my favorite coffee ever. And Story Times by Seattle. So I was just like, what does it all mean? And it's so connecting the dots is like, I guess, my story. Sorry, we got on a huge tangent there.
No, man, it's just okay. You just went through life proving people wrong. And like you make your perspective is your reality. Like that's what it is at a certain point. If you're crazy and you don't know you're crazy, your life is great. As long as you're having a good time, who cares? Like I kind of feel like, and I'm not saying that, like obviously you should always like be doing good deeds and wanting to be a good person and trying to be a pure heart, but I'm just saying, like, make your perspectives, change your story. Like you said, you're like, you go into work and you've written your story the way you wanted to see it, and that's strong. That is very strong.
Yeah, there's no one size fits all, so I don't want people to be like, oh, I'm gonna do this too. If you're not quite there yet, I don't. This philosophy applies to, like, pure-hearted, kind-hearted souls where it fits them. Not everyone's meant to travel. Not everyone has to meditate. Not everyone has to go to the gym. Not everyone, but just pick something that fits you the best and find your true voice. And the ultimate thing, as you say, like, this advice doesn't apply to you if you're a dick, right? I've had people who try to do what I do, and then I get to know them. I'm like, wow, you're a jerk. You're like actually a horrible human being. You're a dick. Like, you need to work on a few things before you start traveling and representing Americans and, other people just say, oh yeah, Americans are. It's like, no, like, stop. Like, it's different. I think everyone's in a different station in life. So I'd be very cautious to say, like, just go put yourself out there, because I don't want you to go out there and then start getting COVID-19. It is everything with, as you said, with responsibility. That caveat that you did, that change of tone you did, that hit me a little bit. And I was like, yes, that's true. Because I'm so careful trying to give one size fits all advice. But if you're out there and you do believe you're a kind-hearted, pure-hearted soul, but you're wondering what if, or like, why am I not doing it with my life? That's a sign. Listen to that feeling, validate it, and then do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Doing it for the wrong reasons. Like, I want to, I want a girlfriend, or I need, I want to be popular, or do all these like things that are superficial and not really you. You're doing it for the image. Mm-hmm. Then you might run over a few innocent souls along the way to get to where you want. And I kind of don't want to give that advice to you, because it'll hurt people.
Exactly. There is a difference between people who live choosing love and people who live choosing fear. And you give into that, at a certain point, you're giving into whichever. There are two wolves, right? It's that old, what is that analogy, or that story of the Native American story where there are two wolves and they're fighting inside every one of us. And which wolf wins? The one you feed,
Yep. Or that Aesop fable. This, I don't know, that's too much. Too many analogies. But yeah, it's like you give love, you have the effects are much more not only rewarding but also effective. Okay, so this guy's wearing a coat. The sun and the cloud are having a fight. Like, who's gonna make him get rid of his coat? So the cloud tries to blow wind. The guy holds on to the coat more and more and more. The sun just gives him love, and the guy's like, yeah, it's getting hot, and takes off the coat. But it's kind of like a relation. But it's kind of like a relationship too. If you're in a relationship and you tell your partner to do something or not do something, it could be very effective, and then they'll do it. But it came from you, and that partner will start resenting you. No matter even if you change them, they're like, wait a minute, did it come from me or did it come? And then they'll be like, well, fuck this guy, like, or this my partner who like made me do this, and then like years later, wait a minute, that wasn't me, and they start resenting you. Or you can do different. It's like, you know what, you can do whatever you want. I mean, it's a little more risky that way. It's like, I can choose what I want to do in this relationship if you do whatever you want, but like, I can't tell you what to do. Everyone thinks, oh, that's a hall pass. You give them a right to do whatever, then how are you going to be in a relationship? It might have the opposite effect because human beings are not logical creatures. They're emotional. The emotional response might actually get triggered when like, I'm in a loving, open relation, a loving, open-minded relationship. Maybe I should stay in it. Or like the kind of house you build them. If you build them a prison with all these rules, they're going to want to get the fuck out as soon as possible. But it's very good at keeping them inside. If you build them an open glass house with 10, floor to ceiling windows with a giant backyard, they're gonna be like, you know what, I want to live in this house. I'm gonna stay in this house. I mean, it would be nice view already. I don't need to go outside.
I'm working on a grant project where we talk about what the key to love is and how you need to find, from my theory that I'm trying to prove through interview, is that you have to find yourself before you can truly love someone else. You have to really love yourself before you can love another, and that you have to also let that other person be and become who they want to be and become. So
right, that's my jam. You gotta, before you're ready for any relationship model, whether you're monogamous, polyamorous, monogamish, non-monogamish, blah, 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 I don't care. Like, you gotta love yourself first before you can love other people, because then you're just hurting them, right? Yeah. You're depending on them when you don't realize. If you don't love yourself enough, they turn to objects pretty much, because you depend on them and like as things or means to an end to make you more complete. But they have their own drama. They have their own battles. They have their own emotions. They're human beings too, and they have their own, life to live. And you're no longer co-piloting.
mm-hmm.
Then you're on an airplane where it's a trainee and the pilot. Well, this benefactor-benefactee relationship is not sustainable. I mean, it might feel great for that power dynamic for a while, but ultimately, the person who's driving the airplane will have to take a nap. Will have to rest. Will have to check out. Traumas and tragedies are going to happen. Is the trainee going to take over? Well, I trained them to be that. I taught them how to become a better partner. But that, because that was you then. It wasn't the person itself. So you're just dating yourself, and the other person starts resenting you. It's like, wait, what about me? What about my personality? What can I contribute to the relationship? Then that doesn't sound like two equals. I mean, if that works for you, but I don't think for most of us listening right here, we're looking for something different. We're looking for something that enriches, makes us, we're already 100%. How do we get to 120% together rather than 60-40?
A synergetic effort. Yep. Who's watering the plant? We have 1 minute and 19 seconds before this ends, I just realized. Oh no, but I can always just go right back on to like wrap up if we miss it, so it's okay. So
grass is greener where you water it.
What?
When you ask like watering the plants or whatever, where the grass is greener? The grass is greener wherever you water it. That's in response to the grass is greener on the other side. You got to focus on your own side. Damn it.
My heart. I love this. You are so great to talk to.
This is the only thing.
Go on.
No, I was like, the only thing that's missing is a hookah.
I know.
Yeah, but I can't endorse smoking in this time, so no smoking.
No smoking. Heard. You are heard. I think breakdancing on rooftops could be your freedom.
But the problem is that my rooftop is old, so it's kind of a slant, and you're not supposed to break dance on uneven surfaces. You can break
Or
your
maybe dangerous rooftops like that. Oh my gosh.
yeah, not a bueno idea.
Oh shoot. Oh no. The 5 seconds remaining.
I
Give.
I can
I'll come right back, okay?